College, is it worth it? Let's talk about it. So it's no secret that the topic of college is a bit polarizing these days as to whether or not it's actually worth the wait and the time and energy and the money that you put into it. I think in large part, a lot of mistakes are made in colleges by students that it tends to not be worth what you put into it. How do you go to college, spend all this money, but make sure that you come out on the other end getting what you really put into it? I think that college doesn't have to be a scam, but there is some real truths here that we need to talk about. 50% of college graduates do not work in careers that are related to their field of study. 50% of college students don't go into a career or a job that actually requires a college degree. 40% of you, when you start your freshman year, you're not even going to graduate. You're going to drop out at some point. The dropout rate on average is somewhere between 33 and 40%. $174,000 is the average cost to go to college. Let's say you take that $174,000 and you accumulate that over the 4-year, 5-year period. And at the end of that period, you drop it all into a Roth, right? Or you drop it into some kind of retirement fund or investment fund where it's going to accrue interest until you retire. If you just drop that money in there and you don't contribute anything else to it over the next 45 years until you retire, at an assumed rate of performance of 9%, by the end of that term, you'll have accumulated $8.1 million in a retirement fund. So just something to think about, is college really worth it, right? We'll get to that. Stick around to the very end because I have a point that I think will add a little bit more context and value there. But let's start talking about how do you get the most out of college. So starting out with number one, don't obsess over the college that you're going to go to, right? The reality is most employers don't care about where you went to school. Now, obviously, there's exceptions here. If you're going to go to Harvard, MIT, Princeton, any of the Ivy Leagues or non-Ivy schools, those schools do tend to have a lot more clout on the resume, and you typically will have more options available to you if you end up at one of those schools. But the acceptance rate for most of those schools is sub 2%. All right. So assuming that you're not the 2% watching my video, the other 98% of you, you're going to end up in a school where your employee just doesn't care where you went. It's not relevant to them. They're not going to Google what ranking does your school have, what clout does your school have. They just don't care. Okay. The reality is that more often than not, if you're applying for a job that requires a degree, the only thing they're really concerned with is do you have the degree? The one thing that you should be thinking about when you're looking at a college is what is their job placement rate after you graduate and how much does it cost to go there? All right. There are schools in the Midwest specifically that you can go to college there, get your 4-year degree, spend less than $100,000, and the school has a 90+% rate of job placement after you graduate. Those are things that you should really be looking at for your colleges, right? When you think about what you're going to get out of it. Next, networking. The biggest and most important value that you get out of your college education are the people that you meet while you're there, right? You're going to go on campus with probably at least 2,000 to 3,000 students. If you go to another school like ASU where there's 60,000 students there, you're going to come across a lot of individuals along your tenure there, okay? So you got students that you're going to meet, you have faculty that you're going to meet, and you have staff that you're going to meet. Every one of these individuals should be treated as a relationship that you could utilize at some point in your career after you graduate, or even while you're in college, right? Starting with the students specifically, you don't know which of these students are going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk or insert rich guy here who started their own business. You don't know who of them is going to be successful in that way, right? And they're going to want to call you and ask you to help them in whatever specific way. Or you're going to be that guy, right? You don't know who you're going to meet who can help you to do that as well. As far as faculty goes, faculty have a lot of resources and people within their network that you could lean upon as well for, where's a good place to look for work? Or are there opportunities to get experience while you're in college? What things should you be focusing on? Is there mentorship that you could be getting from the faculty that are on staff there, right? Get to know your professors. Staff is the same, right? Most universities have a lot of resources that will be able to help you with job placement, resume writing, these types of things, right? So do the same with staff. Get to know the staff that's there. Understand what they do. You could even utilize a staff for like job shadowing. If let's say you're going to school and you want to go into human resources, it doesn't hurt you to go and meet somebody who works in human resources at the university. Sit there with them and understand what they do day in and day out. That's somebody you could interact with on a very regular basis that could give you a lot of advice on how to get into that type of field, right? So utilize the environment that you have to learn, to create relationships, to get mentorship that can help you grow and develop as a scholar, as a future employee, and as a person as well. Take advantage of these things. Another thing that I see a lot from my students is that there tends to be this obsession over a GPA. To think less about knowledge retention, and you need to think more about critical thinking. I was actually just having this conversation not long ago with some of my peers about, what is it that we think that students should get from the program? One of the things that came up was a technical skill set, right? And for me, that's a tough thing to swallow because, it took me 15 plus years to gain the knowledge that I have, to get the level of experience that I have, and to be able to share that and teach that to other students. No, a lot of what you're going to learn as far as your trade is going to be on the job when you get it. Rather, what you should be thinking about in your degrees is that it's teaching you how to think. It's teaching you how to solve problems, how to think critically and logically, and how to approach problems and how to get the outcomes that you need. It's a lot less about the actual knowledge that you're obtaining and retaining. It's more about how are you thinking about the problems that you're addressing when you're in the program. Your GPA is useless. Again, your employer does not care what your GPA is. Don't even put it on your resume. You can see that in my previous video. Actually, I'll post it up here if you want to watch the video on some resume tips. Unless you're planning on going to grad school and unless you're going into competitive programs around like medicine and law and those types of things, then your GPA does matter. But outside of those types of things, don't focus so much on your GPA. Focus on more of the value that you're getting and learning how to think, okay? Don't stress the GPA so much. Moving on to that, get experience somehow. It doesn't need to even be relevant experience to the field that you're going to go into. It just needs to be job experience. And I'm going to go in my next video. We're going to talk about how do you go into a career when you don't have experience. You just graduated from college. You have the paper in your hand. How do you get a job when every job you look at requires 5+ years of experience? We're going to talk about that in the next video. But try to get experience while you're in college. Some kind of experience, okay? Any kind of experience. You should try to figure out how to get some work experience and exposure to a professional environment that you kind of understand what the expectation is, okay? When you're in school, okay, you need to act as a professional. And half of you guys are showing up in pajamas. Be on time to your classes. Be prepared. Be humble and dress appropriately, dress nicely, okay? Because again, the college experience is more about networking than anything else, all right? You don't know who in that room is going to be an advocate for you when this is all said and done. That includes the professor, that includes other students and staff, okay? Be professional in college. It goes a long ways when you can be looked at in that way. Like, this person was always prepared. They spoke up in class. They were humble. They were nice. They were kind, and they were professional. They dressed nicely. They showed up in a way that isn't actually expected of them, and they did that anyways, right? And they'll speak a lot about who you are and the character of you, and that goes a long ways. You build a lot of goodwill and integrity with an individual when you're able to do that. So be professional in college. Don't take credits for granted. Make sure your classes remain relevant to whatever it is that you're studying, okay? Don't go for a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and do extra credits or elective credits in underwater basket weaving, okay? This doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand why students do this. I get it. You're spending money. Maybe you want to have a little fun and do a cool class. I get that. But at the end of the day, the college education that you're receiving is not something for you to have fun with. It's for something for you to be able to use when you graduate from college, right? Take classes that are relevant, that aren't required for your major, but go and do that. One thing that I always tell students in my classes, right? I teach operations management. Something that is not required for the degree that they get in my program is things like coding, computer science, these types of things. And I always recommend, if you can, take your electives and go take those classes, right? Because those skill sets directly translate into how successful you can be within operations management. Learn how to code, learn some SQL, learn database management and administration, right? Go be a semi-IT professional, because everything you're gonna do in operations relies heavily on that position. Don't waste your money on underwater basket weaving when it's not related to your degree at all. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, the last one I have here is probably going to be the biggest factor in what determines how much financial success you get out of your degree when this is all said and done. Try to stay out of debt as much as you possibly can, even if that means stretching out your degree to where it takes you maybe 5 years or 6 years to finish your degree, but you're going to finish it without debt. Do that, okay? I can't stress it enough. You're going to have so much more fun as an adult with disposable income than you will as a college student who just drinks their way through debt and regret, all right? Stay out of debt. Learn how to be poor and grind. Learn how to work your butt off. Learn to live below your means. This creates such good habits. And learn how to be a good steward of the resources that you've been blessed with. All right, stay out of debt. Stay out of debt as much as you can. And here's the biggest reason why I think that actually college can be of great value. The statistics have shown that the average college graduate will earn over a lifetime in their career $1.2 million more than someone with just a high school diploma. If we do the same thing that we talked about earlier in this video, where we take that $1.2 million that accumulates over that 45-year period, and we place it into a retirement fund, right? And we get that 9% performance. Instead of that $8.1 million that you would have made if you would have taken that $174,000, you will make $14.7 million at the end of your retirement with that extra income that you'll have pulled in. But I can tell you right now that if you accumulate a bunch of debt while you're in college, that $1.2 million is as gone as the degree that it's printed on, okay? Do not accumulate a bunch of debt in college. There are so many scholarships that are available. There are so many institutions that are affordable that you can get a degree from, right? Make sure it's regionally accredited, it meets all those requirements. Or do your degree online and work while you go through school. Don't accumulate debt. It's not necessary, all right? It's not necessary to accumulate a bunch of debt to go to an expensive private school, okay? Don't do it. I cannot stress this enough. Stay out of debt. If that is the only thing you've gotten out of this video, that'll be a win. With that, that's all I've got, guys. Until next time, I'm going to talk about, when you're done with college, now what? Now what do you do with this degree that you got with no experience? We're going to talk about that next time. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please make sure and like and subscribe. That really helps me out a lot. I want to continue to do this and grow. So please make sure and smash those buttons below, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.